Hey guys, this is Clipper Creek. It is flowing pretty hard right now. Usually I could cross over to the other side there, but it's not gonna happen today. And I just thought I would take you on another hike. We got these beautiful blackfruit dogwoods here. This is Cornus sicilis. And let's see if we can make these out, these little tiny inconspicuous flowers that it's putting out. It's like 4 petals, maybe only sepals, and 4 anthers. And eventually these will have small black olive-like fruits that are actually edible. And I have Camus here with me today, keeping him on the leash, so he might jerk us around a little bit while we're recording. Hopefully it won't be too bad. It's also raining slightly, so hopefully I don't ruin my phone doing this. I just thought it was too nice out here not to shoot something. So right here at the edge of the creek, there's some kind of like little pump house or something. I don't know what's going on. There's a lock on the door, and you can see there's a pipe heading up the hill. I know there's some houses at the top here, but I don't know what this is used for, or if it's out of commission or what. Oh, let's see what we got here. Some kind of mushroom. Pull it out, take a look. Oh yeah, this is a Pluteus species, or commonly known as a deer mushroom. I don't know which one. They're kind of hard to tell apart, for me anyway. I've heard some people say you can eat these, but I never trust that kind of news. Unless it's been completely proven safe. There's some deer brush ceanothus just starting to leaf out there at the ends. And oh, there's a little patch of, what is that, some kind of larkspur maybe? I'm not sure until they start flowering, but got nice cut leaves. And these little, like, lighter dots at the bottom of the lobes. That usually says larkspur to me, but I don't know until it flowers, really. Here's some Pacific bleeding heart. Just coming out, just putting out leaves. No flowers yet, but there's some nice patches of that along this trail. And let's see, oh, this looks like something different. See, it doesn't have those white dots at the end of the lobes. I think this is Shelton's violet, I'm pretty sure. But it's hard to tell what things are until they start flowering. And oh yeah, you can see here's the larkspur for comparison. Larkspur, violet, maybe kind of hard to tell apart to the untrained eye. Not sure my eye is trained enough either, but that's what I'm going with. And so this little area, this is where I shot the ladybug video a couple weeks back, and they're not enjoying the rain, or they're long gone, haven't mated, but nothing doing over here. So let's, oh, you guys couldn't even see that, but it doesn't matter. There was nothing to see. And all along the trail here we have a native blackberry. This is it Rubus ursinus? Or am I getting that wrong? But its common name is trailing blackberry. And you can see it's got these like light blue green stems as opposed to the purple stems on the invasive blackberry. And also 3 leaflets as opposed to 5 or maybe 3 with the Himalayan. That's why it's important to check the stem there. And then also it's got these entire leaves instead of the cut leaves, like the cut leaf blackberry, which is also invasive around here. And I know that was used as basketry material by the natives, and it's in quite abundance back here, and tends to outnumber the invasives, but we're pretty far back. Not a lot of human, well, hasn't been any human activity back here in a while anyway. I'm sure what we're walking on is old logging roads or old mining roads. This area definitely has a history. The Clipper Creek meets the Little Clipper Creek way further down by Greenhorn Road, and Little Clipper Creek is contaminated with mining waste. So that's actually a federal Superfund cleanup site. And as the story goes, a dam burst holding back mining waste in, I think it was 97, and it spilt a whole bunch of arsenic and lead, mercury, cadmium, contaminated mining trailings down into Little Clipper Creek and eventually to Lost Lake. And so all the people who live out there have really badly contaminated water. This is a little offset from the Clipper Creek, not Little Clipper Creek. I can't say creek today, apparently. Oh, check out this guy. We have a newt, or a salamander. You know what? I can't tell the difference between the, I think it's Tachia or Ensatina. One of them is a salamander, one of them is a newt, but they look a lot similar to me. And this guy will come out when it's raining and try to get back. I bet you this is his home over here. This is where he was born. And he will head off into the woods and then come back here to mate and lay his eggs. And we are right in the middle of mating season here, but they're gorgeous, and I just need to watch where I'm stepping as I'm walking down here, because they will be crossing the trails and you don't want to step on someone. Meet Newt. There's some trash in the woods, but you know, at least it's piled up in one area waiting for somebody to haul it out of here. Maybe I'll get around to that one day. Seems like it would be kind of cumbersome to deal with. But I'll make a special trip and get that crap out of here. And so along these creeks is the only place in these woods you'll see ferns growing, really. This is a western sword fern. So it grows in clumps and it's an evergreen. So it's around year round. And let's see if I can find a fertile frond here. Doesn't look like it, but you always want to check underneath a fern and check for the sori. That's where the spores are made, because that's going to help you diagnose exactly what it is. But you see these little, I don't even know what to call them. these little points on the leaves there, that's how I know it's a sword fern. I'm pretty sure there's only one sword fern that exists around here anyway. Oh. We have a little bit of very old Tramides. And you can see it's got a white poured underside. That's pretty diagnostic of the Tramides, as long as it's got these bands at the top. I don't know if this is Tramides versicolor, the turkey tail, or Tramides... It escapes me right now, but there's another one that's sort of a lighter color and more hairy on top. These are kind of old, so it's hard to tell. And that can very easily be confused with Sterium, which kind of looks the same from up on top, but if you flip it over and look at the gills, it's pretty easy to tell apart, because the Sterium will have an orange underside as opposed to the white underside of the Tramides. Now this plant was giving me some trouble. I was trying to figure out what it is. I can tell it's most likely Apiaceae, or the carrot family, and I want to say this is California sweet Sicily, but I'm not entirely sure. But I just thought I would point that out, because growing amongst it are these little plants, which kind of look similar. They have those kind of like lobed leaves, but you can see the white dots on each one of those lobes, and it's also much smaller compared to this one. And there's the two side by side. And so this small one is small flowered Nemophilia, and that's related to like our famous baby blue eyes and five spot, but this one has a small white flower. Can be kind of inconspicuous if you're not looking for it and it's not actually in flower. Some beautiful Dendrocalcea moss, which looks like little trees coming off. It usually grows on the bark of the oak trees here, but as you can see, it also grows on some rocks. There's some other, I don't know, a club moss or something below it, but this is the Dendrocalcea here. And I believe the Native Americans use that to line the diapers, or if you can call them diapers, of their babies. I suppose when it's dried out, it has quite the absorbency capabilities. But here's another little patch of bleeding hearts. They look so pretty when they're in a big group like that. See, here's a different fern, and this one was giving me some trouble too, because it was obviously dormant through the winter, because I was out here looking for mushrooms. But it also has these kind of, let's see if we can make it out on camera here. Not really, but the little leaflets there are toothed. And so, as far as I learned it, that the tooth leaflets is either a lady fern or a wood fern, and the main difference between them anyway is that the wood fern is evergreen and the lady fern is deciduous. And so since they were dormant during the winter, that makes me think lady fern, but I'm not sure. I don't know my ferns that well. But hopefully somebody will watch this or see it on iNaturalist and give me a heads up. Set me straight. And so this lovely plant over here with no leaves on it, but if I pull a branch over, we can see that these are the male flowers, and this is California hazelnut. Corylus cornuta, I think? But I was very happy today to finally be able to find and photograph the female flowers, which are very, very tiny pink stars that come out of these buds. Oh, here's one right here. Let's see if we can get it on camera. Yeah, will you look at that? That's a female flower. That little tiny pink thing at the end there. And so those catkin looking flowers will release their pollen, and these little guys will catch the pollen, and then you get a hazelnut. And they are edible, just like normal hazelnuts. I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure in Oregon they plant plantations of this, and that's where you get your commercial hazelnuts from. They'd buy in the grocery store. And this, of course, is a big patch of California incense cedar, Calisedrus decurrens. If you do not do anything, they will make these giant stands that are very, very thick. Look at all the trees in there. And so they'll crowd out pretty much anything else. I know the natives would clear them out because they get to be a problem. Let's take a look up and hopefully not get too much water on my lens here. These are some Douglas firs. And what do we got? I guess just mainly Douglas fir. Oh, there's a canyon live oak. We'll get a little closer to that one. You can see there's the dendrolsia on the bark. Might be kind of hard to make out. Oh, and now we're getting some serious rain on us. We'll see if I don't ruin my phone completely. I checked the weather before heading out, and the radar seemed like it would be clear, but we're in the mountains, so you never know. That moisture just gets pushed up and drops out of the sky rather unpredictably. And so you'll see this vining plant is everywhere along the trail, and it's really abundant, and that's a honeysuckle species, Lonicera, and I'm not sure which one until it flowers, but I'll talk about that one a little bit later because it's doing some interesting stuff further down the trail here. Another newt, or salamander. Excuse me if I'm getting that wrong. I guess I can't get it wrong if I say both, right? Okay, this is that sterium I was talking about. So this is also called false turkey tail. And if we take one of these off and we turn it over, very much not a white underside, right? So that's an easy way you can tell those two apart. And the tramides can be used medicinally, but I'm not aware of anything that the sterium has to offer besides ecologically. But every once in a while you'll have your foragers go out and collect that instead of the turkey tail. And I suppose it could make you very sick. At least that's to be expected if you use the wrong mushroom. Let's see if you can see all those beautiful male flowers on that hazelnut tree. Alright, I'm going to pause it here because I'm getting poured on pretty hard, and I'm going to try to salvage a little bit of my phone's lifespan, I guess. And yeah, we'll pick it up in a second. Okay, so it's still raining pretty hard, but this is what I wanted to show you regarding the honeysuckle. You can see this mound right here. There's that tree. These are actually the deerbrush ceanothus, and the honeysuckle is so intense that it grows up and then overpowers and pulls the entire branch down. So you can see, this is the main tree right here, and all these vines are the honeysuckle. And yeah, so that's just the strength of that stuff. It'll take down here. Oh, you know what? Maybe those are manzanitas. I think they're manzanitas, actually, that are being bent over. So yeah, we got the manzanitas, and we can see the vines twisting up them. And eventually they'll just pull the entire tree over. Anyway, I thought that was pretty remarkable. See, look at these guys. So now we're getting kind of close to another little creek, so you'll start to see some different trees. Like we have, it's dormant, but this is mock orange. And what else do we have around here? There's some of those dogwoods. The big leaf maples are showing up again. Will you look at the size of that gall growing on, I guess that's a canyon live oak? Yeah, canyon live oak. So that was an egg laid by some kind of insect. I'm not sure which one this one is. Right in the stem there. And then it changes the way that the plant cells express themselves. And so it'll create this giant growth. And then inside of there, you have the larva that grows to maturity in a protected state, although there are many what are called inquilines, which are insects that will take over the gall created by a different insect and then eat the larva or otherwise just occupy that space. And so there's a lot of interesting ecology going on with galls. And there's not a lot known about them, to be honest. I know very little, but I find it incredibly fascinating. I read somewhere that on a single valley oak tree down in the valley here, you can find maybe 50 different species of insect galls of all different shapes and colors and on every part of the plant. And it's just amazing if you know what to look for. So here's more of that mock orange. It has a nice bending habit down there towards the creek. And there we can see those are the black fruit dogwoods just starting to leaf out. Check it out, we got more bleeding hearts lining the trail. This is the big leaf maple. And let's see if we can get a shot of some of this beautiful bark and buddage. Look at those buds. And that beautiful green bark. It almost looks like a horsetail if it wasn't a tree. Beautiful bleeding hearts. This is going to be amazing when they're flowering. So we got another little creek. This one's definitely seasonal. It'll only be running while it's raining, which it's currently doing. Oh yeah, and just more bleeding hearts just everywhere. We got some kind of monocot seed leaf. I don't even know what this is. I'll have to come back and update you. Seems to be a few of them along the trail here. Could be an orchid. I don't know. Another one. Now I told myself that I was only going to go out on the trail for a short time, so I didn't soak my only pair of hiking boots, but here we are. Feet are soaked. Too bad, right? At least I'm seeing lots of cool and interesting stuff, seeing things leaf out for the first time this year after they've been dormant all winter, seeing lots of little seedlings. I passed a beautiful trillium patch earlier, which I'm not going to go back down to take you guys to now, but maybe we'll see more along my return route. Okay, this is a good point to pause because the forest is opening up and I'm getting much more wet. So, see you soon. And we're back. Look at that beautiful, foggy, cloudy, rainy forest. It's pretty much just a stand of incense cedar and Douglas fir. Oh, what do we got here? We got a rose. I don't know my roses apart. They're pretty difficult. There's many species, and they all hybridize with each other, making things extra difficult. But, ooh, there's a fruit. Maybe somebody else will see this and can tell from the fruit what it is. Here, I'll show the leaves. Growing as like a small shrub here in the understory on the side of the trail. And there are some absolutely enormous Doug firs and incense cedars back here. And when you look at the size of that madrone right there, wow. Growing right next to the water down there in the creek bed. Here we have an orchid species, I believe. This is rattlesnake plantain. So it's not in flower right now. But you can see it makes these... Actually, the foliage is just gorgeous on that, isn't it? The white line in the middle. I don't know if you can make out the veining, but it's quite pretty. So that will send up a flower stalk, I don't know, maybe a foot tall, with these little white flowers. And yeah, that's Orchidaceae, the orchid family. It's kind of one of the least showy and more common of our orchids around here. And look, Camu's being so good. He's soaked, but he's staying behind me, not ruining the shot at all. He knows what we're trying to do here. I still keep him on a leash because you never know. If a deer all of a sudden bolts out, he will take off. And I don't feel like yelling and screaming after him. So I just keep him on the leash. We got a little Pacific hound's tongue, which is just sprouting. Doesn't even have any flowers yet. You can see the little... There's the flowers just beginning. That's in the Boraginaceae. Has these nice blue flowers with fused petals. And I think it smells kind of nice. At least when it has a smell. Sometimes it doesn't. See, now we're back in the deep duff again. And so you get big, big trees. Oh, check it out. This is that hazelnut tree, and we have a little hazelnut still left on there from last season. So that's what they look like. One of the common names for this is also beaked hazelnut, and I'm pretty sure that refers to this little part. Kind of looks like a beak, I guess. If you hold it sideways, it looks like a duck, right? But yeah, hazelnuts. Pretty abundant back here around these parts. Okay, so this is a good enough place to stop. I just want to show one more mushroom related thing because, you know, it's almost the end of mushroom season, so it's not going to be too much longer that we can enjoy this kind of stuff. But we have here a manzanita. I believe this is white leaf manzanita, and it's quite old, but if you look very closely, you can see there's a little mushroom growing off of it, and that is actually called the manzanita conch. And it only grows on manzanitas. Let's see if we can find one that's maybe a bit more developed. Oh yeah, here we go. Look at that little guy. Kind of easy to miss. This grows in these little recessions. So yeah, manzanita conch, and the scientific name escapes me, but it's something complex and difficult. Oh, here's another one. So anyway, I hope you kind of enjoyed that one. I know I kind of enjoyed that one.